Alright guys, what's happening? It's time for Toriko 328. This is
Yeah.
the roof of the civilization, which is a giant fucking clam. Pause on
Well,
that.
clam, clam, shellfish, who the hell cares? It's Toriko. You come to expect it. I mean, we should have guessed it was going to be some type of creature. I mean, it was either that or going to be some natural like underground like cavern or something.
Mm-hmm.
You just knew something like that was going to happen.
I dig it. I think it's pretty cool. The
Now
giant
as
cities in a freaking shellfish.
now as for everything else that happened in this chapter, I almost like it was awesome, but at the same time, it's like, okay, it's like par for the course at this point, especially in the gourmet world.
Right.
I mean, first off, the Black Triangle is a gigantic case sea that has different. You can make different things out of it depending on how deep you go, because the deeper you are in the Black Triangle's trench, the different consistency of the water slash taste of it, and it's all being produced solely by the true another.
Right. So I wonder, like, if that's gonna make, I guess, like, at the bottom of the ocean, some kind of century soup for gourmet world standards.
Now,
I don't
no,
know.
it's not going to be a century soup.
Or at
It's
least the
going to be,
equivalent.
well, according to what they said, I think the deeper layers might be like the thicker sauce-like consistency. So it's more of a sauce, I think, deep down, I think.
Century stew. Oh.
But and the important thing to note is apparently in the Black Triangle alone, one could essentially make an entire full course menu,
Right.
which means that there's probably even sweet shit in there too, because they got to have a dessert,
Of
and there
course.
has to be some type of meat too, because you got to have a meat dish.
True.
Doesn't so whatever, which is going to be interesting to see. Now, as terms of creatures that are interesting to see, I mean, we have somewhat of a of a repeat of the last area where there's a sort of hierarchy almost,
Right.
because not only do they have to contend with Whale King Moon, who is supposedly hailed as the greatest of all the 8 kings, but he has 7 boys to back him up.
Yeah.
So it's like with capture levels in the 4,000s, nothing except in area. The only thing that could even touch that was Bambina, and he was 6,000.
And the Ostrosaurus, which I think was also 4,000.
No, I don't think it was.
I know Guinness was 6,090. The Battle Wolf is 6,090. I know Bambino was like 6,005 or something like that. I
No, it
think
was
the
6. I think
Ostrosaurus is 4K. I don't remember. I'll look
the
it up
point,
while we're doing this.
but the point is that the all 7 of these creatures are each individual one of them individually could wipe out everything on Area 7 minus Bambina.
Right. 4,220.
Oh, okay. So we don't know exactly the capture levels of all the creatures, all 7 of the beasts,
Right.
but they are all hailed to be in the 4,000s. So Bambina had what? 4 creatures, 4 masters.
Mm-hmm.
So yet we have the freaking Whale King Moon who has 7. So needless to say, now we know why Area 6 is the toughest, or at least the toughest so far, because it always seems like. See, one of the issues I figured we were gonna have after while we were still in the Area 7 arc was Bambina's just power was just being so heavily like displayed, and like it was like, oh my god, how is there any 8 King stronger? How is any area tougher than this?
Uh-huh.
And I predicted this. each area is going to be seen as strong, even though, like, it seems like and it's going to be the case. Every area is going to be like, oh wow, look how strong and dangerous this area is. Oh, next area, even more dangerous and even more deadly. Like, even though the previous one said to be really, really dangerous and possibly the best, the most dangerous, and have the strongest eight king. Nope, next one, and the next one, and the next one, and it's like, really, they're all getting. I mean, you would think that when they first initially started the Gourmet World arc, like, okay, Gourmet World Saga, that okay, each of these areas are going to get progressively tougher, progressively more dangerous, and the creatures would be progressively getting stronger. But then they started to throw that whole idea of, or should I say, then we got to Area 7 and Bambina, and we're like, how can any place be better, harder, tougher than this? And
Challenge
because
accepted.
so now, like he's giving himself his own personal challenge to outdo himself in each arc, even though each arc is going to hail their area and their creatures as the most dangerous.
Hmm.
Now, some of the interesting other things learned is that we learned a little more about Chio
Right.
and how her son that she was always talking about died when he was 12 years old, which is
Yeah.
young, which is young as shit. Like, we always assumed, or at least I always assumed, that that her son at least made it to, at least had to, like, at least I thought it was sounded more like he was a young man when he died, not 12.
Yeah, same.
And then even worse, we thought it was like some tragic accident or something whatever. Nope, he was born sick
Yeah.
and and never once, like, only for a brief moment or a brief time was he able to leave was he actually checked out of the hospital and not on like tubes. And just and this is I think the most heart-wrenching part, just when she finally had the opportunity to actually cook him something, he immediately takes a turn for the worse and dies.
Yep.
Like, that is fucked up. Now I can understand why she was so desperate to join the dark side force.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame her if she wants to go after Center after everything that has
Oh,
happened.
it's going to happen
Yeah.
because they pretty much set it up to that another was the only food that could be brought to the food spirit world from the living, and the food in the food spirit world has no taste, so it doesn't do anything for them. All of this pretty much sets up that once they capture another, they're going to go to the food spirit realm. She's going to meet her son and finally be able to cook, and she'll cook food another for him.
Mhm.
However, she also said that once she has done this and cooked a meal for her son, she will have no regrets and won't care what happens to her afterwards. Meaning that she's also possibly foreshadowed that she will die at some point before the end of the series.
Yeah, probably.
And that will be even more confirmed if she happens to actually meet her son in the food spirit realm.
Mhm.
I can see some messed up shit, like, in order for, because center is the whole idea about it is it's a revival ingredient, and for all we know, it could turn around and we could find out that in order for her to use center to revive her son, she has to sacrifice her own life or something.
Uh.
But anyway, we also find out that, yeah, everybody's here because they have some unbreakable resolve. But we're not going to go into all of their individual reasons as to why they feel the need to go into the gourmet world,
Yep. Get to
because
be
they're
the
not.
greatest swordsman to find the all blue. Oh wait, wrong series.
Yeah. So, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny because when you actually think about the characters of Toriko, wouldn't Live Bearer have the same goal? Isn't Live Bearer's goal pretty much the same thing as Orochimaru's?
Pretty much.
Which is kind of funny, I think, when you
Uh-huh.
think about it. But anyway, so yeah, and then we also see them get attacked by one of these seven beasts, and it's a friggin' living coral. Like, only in Toriko will you have a monstrous living coral. Like,
It's awesome, but
that's
it's
par for the course.
crazy.
And we see them reach the giant shellfish clam thing that where Blue Grill is located, and they enter. But there's one thing you have to note: this giant clam is said to be 10,000 kilometers wide.
Hmm.
Now, when you think about that, if it's 10,000 kilometers wide, how big is Whale King Moon?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, what? There's no way. There's just no way. So, yeah, obviously, something's gonna happen. Or, obviously, either he's gonna be not as big, but still really insanely powerful, or he's going to be insanely huge.
Like moon size or higher, which is unfathomable, as I said in a previous review, to think about.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, just seeing somebody as large as Pennsylvania alone would just scare the fuck out of me, let alone
yeah.
the entire
Hold on, hold on,
U.S.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Seeing something bigger than the size of Pennsylvania would scare anybody.
Hmm. Let alone
So,
the U.S., let alone the moon, which is pretty much just bigger than the U.S. So it's like, holy crap. But yeah, I like the design of Blue Grill so far. I kind of liked how it was drawn. So
hmm
I think that about wraps it up.
I mean,
Um,
the only interesting thing, no, the only thing you have to talk about is that Don Mold thing, that food spirit.
he's okay. Not that interesting.
But that whole thing about, Gigi was about to tell us about something he could do that involves hiding, and then he's like, shh,
Oh,
not yet, not yet.
okay.
Which is probably going to become something that's very, very important later on in the arc.
Yeah, we'll find out later. For now,
As long as
Mitsutoshi
it's
wants to keep it
as
under
long,
wraps.
yeah, and as long as it's not another fucking sexual fetish. I mean, we had a whole friggin' bestiality arc. We don't need another one.
No, we don't.
So it's definitely going to be interesting. And I mean, so far it seems like we're going to be focusing on this area first, and then but we'll have to wait and see what happens next week.
Hmm.
Because for the love of God, it will be too chaotic if we do a couple chapters in area 6, then another couple in 5, a couple in 4. Like, it'll just get really confusing really quickly.
Yeah, like I said last week, this could turn into Game of Thrones style very quickly, which it focuses very little on like everybody at once and just like slowly progresses the story, which I don't want, but it could happen.
Just do it the simple, easy way that we all know would work.
Hmm.
So, despite the simple chapter, it was still pretty good,
Yeah.
very interesting, and can't wait to see what would make Gigi say, "Oh, it might be a fun time."
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good chapter.
Well, I mean, I'm because he was referring to Blue Grill. So
Yep,
is there going to be something hidden that he isn't telling us yet,
of
other than the
course.
whole? Of course he is. The only person who's been straightforward with us is freaking Chi Chi,
Hmm.
or not Chi Chi, yeah, Chi Chi, with his
Yeah.
freaking pervert ways.
Hmm.